Okay, so from the last video, we were putting together the actual cake part, and I noticed in our instructions that we needed some more chocolate. So what I did is I went to the store and got some of the proper chocolate in order to make this the right way. So what it's asking for is to combine 3/4 cups of hot water and 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, which is this right here. So we're just gonna do, I'm actually gonna do 2 1/8 cups because it'll be much easier to get that here. So we have 8 and 1/8. Now, all of the noise you're hearing in the background would be my daughter Hillary and her stepdad goofing around in the other room, so you can enjoy that in the background. And then we need to add the chocolate. So what I'm going to do is pause this and add this chocolate, and then we're going to start heating this up. Okay, so I've added our chocolate in here. Now, the funny thing about this is actually that we're supposed to be doing this in one of the little double bowls where you have the one that's being heated and a bowl inside of that gets heated separately rather than on the pan, but I don't have that kind of setup, so I'm just going to do this on very low heat. You can see that it's like at a 2, whatever focus is there. Here. Yeah. And I'm just going to do this at very low and stir it until it's all melted and mixed together. Once it's melted and mixed together, I have to add 3/4 cup of sugar to the bowl and continue to stir it until smooth. So we're going to just let this melt up, and then we'll come back. Okay, so while that is melting in, we're just going to come back over to our other area here and do the next step, which says to whisk eggs and egg yolk together. So what we need is 4 large eggs and 2 egg yolks. It says to put them in a large bowl. So I've got a large bowl here, which we're going to go ahead and stick them in and whisk them together. Now I have some farm fresh eggs from my mother-in-law's chickens, so we're going to go ahead and use. So we'll get those cracked in here. Okay, so you can see that I have my 4 full eggs and 2 egg yolks in this big bowl that's ready to be whisked together. But first we're going to come over and check how this chocolate is melting. It's starting to get a little bit melty here, I think. I clearly made quite a mess here and splashed chocolate everywhere, but that's okay. Just gonna let this keep melting here for just a little bit longer. So now, since this is pretty much melted, I need to add 3/4 cup of sugar, and I need to mix this well until it's really, really combined and smooth. I also need to, let's see. Nope, we just need to mix this in together and make it really nice and smooth, and then we will go and mix sugar and eggs. You can see how well this is actually mixing in together. For a moment, I wasn't really sure that it was going to, but it seems to be kind of mixing together quite nicely. So we're just going to make sure that this gets all smooth and mixed in with no real chunks, and we've got to keep whisking it, since again we're doing it directly on the heat rather than in one of the in the different method where you're using a heat-proof bowl over a burner, over another item that's got on the burner. I can't think of what they're actually called. A bain-marie is what they're called. So anyway, we're going to keep doing this here, and then we'll go do our eggs. All right, so I'm gonna whisk my eggs together like it says, and we're just gonna make these mixed until they're really kind of fluffy. Okay, so it says that now we have to mix in the rest of the sugar. So the recipe called for 1 3/4 cups of sugar. Three quarters of that sugar went into the chocolate, and the remainder, which is 1 cup here, is going to go into the eggs. Now we're just going to mix this together until the sugar is mixed in, and then we're going to go get our chocolate and we're going to add our chocolate to this. Okay, so I poured the chocolate in. Now it says stir in chocolate and mix until smooth and well combined. Then progressively stir in the butter, mixing well until perfectly combined. Now that means I need to soften the butter. It says to use 12 tablespoons, so I need to get 12 tablespoons of butter good and soft next, and then we'll mix that right in here. So I've added my butter here to the chocolate, and I'm just mixing it in real good. Then next it says what to do is to stir in 1/3 of the flour mixture and mix it with a spatula until it's well combined. Then I'm supposed to stir in 1/2 of the sour cream and combine that. Now I have a total of 3/4 cups of sour cream that's supposed to be mixed in. So I'm going to start with this 1/3 of the flour mixture and get that going here. Looks like about 1/3 of it. Let's just mix that in here. Okay, so the sour cream was 3/4 of a cup, and I have put 1/4 of a cup and 1/2 of 1/4 of a cup, which is 1/8. And I'm just going to mix that in here. Then it says to add the vanilla extract. So 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So I have over here my vanilla and my teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. It's not showing very well, but it is 1 teaspoon. Maybe you can kind of see it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Go. So that's in here. I'm just going to mix it in real good. You can see it gets stuck on the edges a little bit. I can smell the vanilla and the chocolate together. Okay. So that's good and mixed. Now it says to stir in another bit of flour. So we're just going to get that good and mixed in here. Okay, now it wants me to put in the rest of the sour cream, so I'm going to measure that out. Okay, so I've got the sour cream in here. I'm going to mix this up really good, and then I have to add the rest of the flour. So I have the rest of the flour in here, and now I just need to whisk it all until it's smooth. Then we get to put the batter into the cake pans. Okay, it's ready to go in the cake pans. So what I have here is 3 round little cake pans. They're stackable. So I put some parchment paper in the bottom so that the bottom doesn't get stuck. Sprayed them with some avocado oil just so that they don't stick to the silicone cake pans here. And then what we'll do is we'll put the big one in first, and then a few minutes later we'll put the middle one, and then the last little bit we'll put the tiny one in. And what this is really going to do is give me 3 tiers of cake to be able to build. So I'm going to pour it in, and then we'll put it in the oven. Okay, so we've got them all smoothed out and into our 3 little pans here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the first one in here. Now, I think it would be best to put them on top of a cake pan or a baking sheet, just to make sure that the silicone doesn't flex. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this one in first. There it is. Close this up. And we'll set our timer. So the actual recipe says to bake for 25 to 30 minutes for 3 of the sized pans that I just put in. So since we only have 1 that size and then 2 smaller ones, what I'm going to do is put this one in for 10 minutes. And then when 10 minutes is over, I'll put this next one in for 10 minutes. And then when that 10 minutes is over, I'll put this one in for the last little bit, so that we have all 3 of them evenly cooked. And then we'll come back and see what happens after that.